evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Wave Network and Sports Corner with the Conn Man. I am your host, the Conn Man. And folks, I claim that I'm a basketball historian, but with me this evening, I have two legendary OGs in the building. We got one right now who just chimed on in. He goes by the name of Ed Atlas. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, Mike, how you, man?
I'm good. I want to thank you for coming on my show. While we're waiting for the other OG, John Reeves. But anyway, if you could, Ed, for the viewers who may not know about you, can you give the viewers a little bit about your history, your journey, and your grind?
Oh, sure. But first, I want to thank you, Mike, for the last time. That interview was historic, and every time I watch it over and over with Sam Jones, it brings tears to my heart. And I get so many people that review it and just the utmost respect. And I just thank you for putting it together and inviting me to be, participate, man. And then he just talked to us like we were brothers, like we knew him. You know what I mean? It was just so amazing that he was that down to earth and gracious and shared all that knowledge, man, that just blew us away. It blew me away still to this day. That he put up with what he did, the small amount of money they got paid. I mean, the racial discrimination that he endured. Oh my God, it was just, oh. But anyway, Mike, like I said, I appreciate it, your opportunity. And from what you've done for me, you inspired me from, my basketball book that I wrote before, the Hempstead basketball book.
Absolutely.
I expanded it to over 200 pages, but also another friend motivated me to follow in your footsteps and start doing my podcast based on the book, because a lot of people won't read the book, and the cost of the book is just really not affordable for me to even try to sell the book, like the print. I don't want to have my basement full of unsold books. So This gave me the idea, like you do, to invite some of the people that I know that are living legends from Hempstead. And Hempstead was the Mecca at the time, and I missed out. Like every time when I go home, I visit people and they say, "Man, you left me out." I'm like, I couldn't include. I did this just from my own memories of growing up in Hempstead and the competition that I witnessed. And one of the things, I don't like to brag about the book as much as I should, or promote it and market it as much as I should. But I think it's power packed because, I go back to the 60s, with Joe Blocker, who was a Hempstead All-American in 4 sports, Hempstead High School All-American in 4 sports. So I go back that far. He played against Jim Brown and those guys, and football, basketball, and baseball, and lacrosse. Amazing, man. I talk about Julius Erving, where I saw him, and that's really what got me as far as being a fan of basketball, because we saw him up close and personal. And we would go to games. He would leave tickets at Kennedy Park Rec Center, free tickets, so we could get to go. Sometimes we even snuck into games just to go to see him play. And we idolized him just like the kids idolized Michael Jordan, because we were there in the neighborhood. And so from there, that inspired me to play ball. But I never was a great player or anything, but I was just always my love for the ball kept me involved. And like they say, there's a saying, ball is life. It became a life for me. And, it was just so many different ways that I, everywhere I went while I traveled in the military, I traveled to serve in the U.S. Army for 23 years. Wow. And everywhere I went, I would talk about Hempstead. I bragged about Hempstead so much to the point where people like, "Man, you got to be like, you don't know Dr. J. You're lying. You're making all this up."
Right.
Yeah. And I would tell them, and eventually that's another reason that motivated me to write the book, because I was there. We saw stuff up close and personal. And just like, one of the things I talk about is people say, how much he contributed to the game. And if they had archives, there was a way to get archives of some of those games, or even the record tournament games,
Ooh.
and moves that have never been done before, never been duplicated. We've seen him do moves by accident that most people can't even try to create. You know what I mean? And we saw it in the playground. We saw it at the Ruckers, at Campbell Park in Hempstead. We saw these different things in Roosevelt. The way he just played. But then not only that, his style of play, and then his fashion. He was a fashion statement before. His fro. We all started wearing fros. We kind of had the same swagger and walk. So it was the imitation. Then we tried to copy his game, his style. And I tell the story about the time my mother said, you guys is just overboard. Everything Julius. My mother's a minister, and she's like, if you follow Julius, like I want you to follow Jesus, and you guys would be angels, And so I mean, it was funny, but so one day. And this is a story that I shared before. Around the corner from us, right around the corner, a block away on Dakota Place, is Julius's aunt, the Sowers family. His rookie year in the ABA, they hosted a barbecue for him, and he came and visited. He came in a white Lincoln Continental, and dressed up. But my brother and a couple of friends that younger guys, they came and said, Julius is down the street. Julius is down the street. And so everybody ran home and got their basketballs and ran back to the house, the Sowers family house, because they had a court in the driveway in the backyard.
Okay.
And they're playing with them. So the thing that was crazy was when my brother Paul, younger brother, came in, bust through the door to get his ball and run back out. Julius, my mother thought he was saying Jesus is down the street.
Oh.
She runs to the front door, kind of excited, and then we telling her Julius is down the street. But I mean, that's the effect, the impact, like I say, that we had. It was just that close that as far as where basketball was in my life. And so, like I said, I reflected. I think we just had that kind of Hempstead just had that kind of effect. Everybody played. At my age group, we're from probably, I would say 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. Most guys played ball. That's all it was to do was play ball. We even played on garbage can, as you worked your way up, because
Right.
When you in basketball pickup games, you couldn't just come out and play. So you had to, get to the main court. You had to go to the side court, or if there wasn't a side court, shoot on the trash can or work on your handle, until somebody said, come on now, let's give it a shot. I mean, and they would let you run. And I remember for me, I was so small and skinny, I wouldn't do much. They wanted me to inbound the ball so they could get the ball in. And I worked my way up and figured that out. Well, I said, every time I get in, I'm going to get you the ball. So that helped me with my passing game.
Right.
And from there, it went to, well, if I get rebounds and give it to somebody I know who's going to score, because we didn't shoot threes. We were trying to score. So I want somebody who I know is going to give it and attack the rim, And so the more you did those things, and then, like you say, you work your way up, and learn the game and learning from older players, it just helped me along the way. But at the same time, as far as organized ball, I tried out and got cut for more teams than I probably made in my life. Mm-hmm. From elementary school, I think I tried out 8th grade, 9th grade. I played 1 year in 10th grade in North Carolina at a prep school called Palmer Memorial Institute. And I was the last man on the bench. I only scored 2 points the whole year. But then I transferred back to New York and Hempstead, and I never made Hempstead's team. My sophomore, junior, and senior year, I got cut. I played for the B varsity team, which was competitive, and we were pretty formidable team. But I still wanted to play, so I played in as many leagues as I could. We would ride bicycles all over Nassau County to play. We played like when Julius moved to Roosevelt. That was a big place to play, and we would ride bikes or catch the bus to go play there. Rivalries in Westbury, Freeport, Uniondale, you name it, we went. Rockville Center, wherever Long Island. We just wanted the competition. And I think that helped me through, even though I didn't play in high school, and I had grown to about 6'3". So and this was while I was in my senior year after I got cut. One day I went to play, left school early. I skipped my afternoon classes and went to Kennedy Park to play. And because I know if you get there early, you can get in and get the first run. And that it just so happened that day, Trooper Washington from the Nets and Jimmy R were in there working out. And my friend Leroy, he was younger than me. I was in the 12th grade. Leroy was in the 9th grade. I think Leroy was 6'7". So they kind of sized us up and said, well, 6'7", 6'3", maybe we can play a little game together. And so we played a 2-on-2 with them. And, a couple of they said, well, run it back. Because we kind of, they beat us, but we kind of gave them a game. And they was like, hey, what are y'all doing? Where are you? Why are you here? I told them, well, I got cut from varsity and I'm just cutting school now. And, he gave me an lecture and said, you need to go back to school. You got a little talent. But why, go back to school, get your grades right. Maybe I can help. And he said, I'm going to pull your coattail. That's what he kept saying. I'm going to pull your coattail. So after we finished playing, he took us out in the parking lot, showed us his car. He had an Eldorado, a convertible Eldorado, and drove us where he lived. He lived right downtown, main part of Hempstead, right across from the police department, new apartment building. He drove us there, showed us where he lived. He said, this is your life, son. You throwing it away, not going to school. Best lecture I ever had, and he even tried to help me. I just didn't graduate on time, but he tried to help me as far as getting into school. He made a call to North Carolina A&T, in which I wanted the school that I really wanted to go to, the Dream School, because my father graduated from there.
Mm-hmm.
But lo and behold, I didn't graduate from high school on time, so I had to work a year. And I went to Nassau Community College, and I didn't have enough. I was going to attending part-time, so I wasn't ineligible to play. And then from there, I just kept playing, continue to play wherever I could, continue to play. My next year, my sophomore year, my mother was in Salisbury, North Carolina at Livingstone College, and she helped me to get a scholarship, a partial scholarship to go to Livingstone, and my brother-in-law Leonard Blygen from Harlem, he made a call and said, well, maybe you can get a walk-on with the coach. So when I arrived, they fired the coach. It was a new coach. He brought in a whole new team. And so he said, I can let you walk on, but I don't have any scholarships. I understood. I was bitter about it, though, because I was competitive and, felt I could play and hold my own, but I didn't get a chance. So 4 years, this is another 4 years, a long journey of getting cut. Like I said, I got cut from so many teams, but it gave me the will to keep on and use this motivation, not only for myself, but for other kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of the things it did is, like when I got cut in high school, I started coaching my brother at Kennedy Park League. And on that team, my brother wasn't a starter. He was nowhere near. He was a chubby kid, out of shape at the time, but he wanted to play. And my thing was, it's like that slogan, no child left behind. I'm going to let everybody play. But from that team, we had pretty good players who went on. A couple of them, Stacy Harvey, he played at North Carolina Central. And another kid, Darren Cross, I forgot where he played, but he was like, all county, all Long Island player. We had players. And then I found out I could, I wasn't great at coaching, but I found out I could just get kids to play together. It started spiraling. So while I was in the Army, every place that I was stationed, I would play, go to the gym, play, and find the youth centers and started coaching players there. and also a couple of places where I was stationed. Because a lot of time I had to just take the initiative to go find it or start it. So a couple of places I played, I started the team, got the uniform, made myself the manager or whatever, scheduling the game, and even been at one point while I was I was stationed in Istanbul, Turkey. I was a player coach, and we won the championship in Turkey. And so from there, that championship team, we went to play for the Southern European championship against Greece and Italy. It was pretty competitive there. We had played against, I think, one of Gus Williams from Mount Vernon's teammates. I forgot his name, now Robinson. I can't remember his first name. But they had a stacked team. And the Greece team, they had a big guy, about 6'9", 6'10". And on my Turkish team, we had Tommy Blue. He was 6'9" from Elizabeth City State, and he had tried out for the Boston Celtics and the 76ers and got cut. But he was all CIAA back at that time. So I started to see, like I said, I could play, pretty much with every station, everywhere I was stationed, and had opportunities. I played semi-pro while I was in Turkey. And that was an experience that I never thought, when I was there, that I would go to games and crowds were yelling for me they called it dunk. They didn't say dunk. They want you to smash it. And they just smash, smash, smash. And then you hear the horns, and the horns is different noise makers that they have over in the European game. And then some of the other adjustments was the language barrier, because no one spoke English. You just had to learn the universal game of basketball. And basically, they would say smash. They wanted me to dunk or pass, but it was no one, even the coach, no interpreter. And the league that I was in was like a B or a C level league, and they had higher levels. Like Tommy, at the end of our season, Tommy moved up, I think, to the next might have went up to the top league, but just that experience was just so much, and it also the physicality of the game made me a stronger player. And at that time, the Euro step were in Turkey, I think it might have been wherever in Italy, wherever you played, their Euro step was 3 steps. And so I had to get used to guys taking the Euro, but then they would take that additional step and get by you. I'm like, hold up, what is this? How are they doing it? But it was a lot of things that you just they weren't prepared for. No one told you or briefed you about it. And another thing was on any calls except for free throws, like any whistles. And this is the thing I thought about this one time as a suggestion to change the flow of game or speed up games. But when on a whistle, you didn't have to hand the ball to the referee. Them Turks would get the ball out of bounds quick and be gone. If you stand there and try to argue with the ref, argue the call,
the ball's already going down.
They're gone, man, going down the court and bucket. And so sooner or later, you said, I got to get back on defense, because it was just you didn't have the time. And if you held the ball, they snatch it out of your hand and be gone. Yeah, man, it was something I never forget. I wish I had movies. I got one picture somewhere. I lost it. I got a picture somewhere I dunked one time, and I think I might have one other picture, but it was for the team I played for. It was sponsored by International Harvester, and I think they even had a top team in the top leagues. But another thing I noticed back then that they did, and I think it's probably where it got to start. Back in the day, they were doing the same thing with Luka. We had kids 14. We had 2 kids like 13, 14 years old playing with grown men. And so, it was developmental for them. They get in and you try to, give them a little time. But I think that might have been the way that when you see an up-and-coming project, they were ahead of time doing it. And this was back in 1980.
Oh. Interesting. Now, before we get into, your book and all those things, one of my good friends just chimed in, Mike Samuel. He said hello to both of us. But anyway, I wanted to let the viewers know that thanks to Mike Samuel's dad and a few other business people, they were able to have the one and only Dr. J come to New Bedford. And the year was 1976. I was 16 years old, and he had come with a guy by the name of Lenny Rocha, who I guess was at UMass with him. And this was right before he was with the ABA and before he went to the NBA. It was during that interval that they had to lock out or whatever. But Dr. J came, and the 16-year-old kid, which being me, place was packed. I don't know, 4,000, whatever it was, how many people were there. And, they had called that he was coming in, and we saw him, and he came in. I'll never forget. He had a gray top, gray sweatpants, and I don't think he had Converse sneakers on at the time. But I remember that when he came in, the crowd was like, they started booing him because what he said was, I want y'all to learn the fundamentals before you go ahead and do. He said, I may make it look easy, but I work very hard at it. And at first they were like, you know what I mean? But then what he did was he had called in the crowd. He said, hey, who's the biggest leaper in the building? And this guy's name was Gus Hodge. He's about 6'6". And he got Gus up there and shook his hand and said, hey, Gus, can you touch the backboard? Gus said, yeah, of course. Went and did it. Right? He said, yeah, well, can you touch the rim? Gus said, yeah, I can do it. Then doctor said, can you touch the backboard without bending your knees? Everybody's like, what the hell are you talking about? Can you touch the backboard without bending your knees? And then, of course, Gus couldn't do it. Then he said, can you touch the rim without bending your knees? Gus couldn't do it. Doctor proceeded to get 2 balls. He went up, bang, bang, 2 hands without bending his knees. Incredible. And then, of course, I don't want to, because this is about you, not me, but I got the opportunity to play against him one-on-one, which was something I'll never forget. There were about 7 of us, and we had the opportunity to go play against him one-on-one, and it was an experience of a lifetime. And I can tell you one quick story. I remember when he had hit 2 jumpers on everybody. Then it was my turn. So I'm up guarded him. I'm close to him. I'm in his job. He takes a jump shot. He misses. I get the rebound. I go to the left corner. I between the legs, behind the back, whatever the hell. I took a left-hand hook. I don't even remember what happened. Anyway, you had to clear it. So he got the rebound. True story. He got the rebound. He went to the foul line. He took another jump shot. It hit the back of the rim. My hands are like this, Ed. I'm seeing the ball come in my hands. I'm shaking I'm seeing the ball come in my hands. He grabbed it, switches, and does a 360 dunk, and the place erupted.
Oh, man.
And then what he did was, now I'm speeding things up, but he called everybody down in a semicircle. And then he did every dunk imaginable. There's one dunk he did in the ABA All-Star game when he was competing with David Thompson. You see him do it. He grabs the 2 balls, right hand, left hand, over the back. I mean, I was going. The whole place was going. It was what a great experience. So bringing that thing about Dr. J really brought that memory to my mind. And with Mike Samuel tuning, his father and the businessmen were able to get Dr. J to come here, which was an amazing thing. Now, getting back to you, you talked about, okay, you went and played overseas and you did all that. And then when you came back, because I want to get to let the viewers know how much you have helped out other players. So talk about your experiences, what made you decide to write a book.
Yeah, so, well, basically, I think what made me decide to write it was I had a close friend who located back to Maryland who started coaching with me. Rest in peace, Billy Hope. And Billy Hope had just a memory of so many players. And every weekend we would get together and just talk about the players. And he played he's younger than me, but he was a phenom in himself. When he was in the 6th grade, he was the first kid to play in the 8th grade team. And he was close by Don Ryan, Julius Erving's coach. But Billy Hope today would be Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Billy Hope that had the exact prototype game that you see with Shea. He knew when to slow it down, speed it up, and he played with the Salvation Army. I forgot their record, but it was an astronomical number of winning records. And he played. Don took them everywhere. They played in Harlem, and I mean he played records everywhere he played from when he was like 10, 12, 13, 14 years old. And we bonded when I played when I was a senior, he was a freshman. He played with me on B varsity. That's how we really got close, because he was a point guard and we just established that bond. So lo and behold, all these years later, I relocate through the military to Maryland and link up with him, and we start coaching Boys and Girls Club. We coach here about 10 years together. But anyway, every weekend we go drink a beer and start talking about the old players. And sooner or later, I started writing tributes down, writing notes down. And before you know it, I had a little spiral notebook with these players that we had talked about. And then I had always been kind of just as a hobby, writing all along my life, just writing. And I started composing these poems and tributes. And I got one, if you don't mind, I got one that I want to read.
Go ahead.
It's very special, but it's another friend of mine that I grew up with. I know since I was 5 years old. He lived down the street from me, Lawrence Jackson. And so we also united here in Maryland over the years. He was in the Air Force and worked as a defense contractor, lived in Omaha, Nebraska. But we all came back to this area. And so he challenged me one day, called me up, said, "Man, I need you to coach my daughter. She's in the 5th grade elementary school." And I'm like, "Sure, why not? You know, I'm coaching anyway." So this story just blossomed into, man, it's unbelievable how much Larry, you know, over time we were friends on and off. He was playing, I played. He was in the music. I played more, but we stayed in contact. We almost best friends. We lived like 10 houses away from each other.
Ooh, wow.
So even in the ABA days, we used to go to Nets games and wait outside and get autographs. Connie Hawkins, Julius Erving, Earl Monroe. We had we had a collection. We would try to compete against each other to see who would get the most that night. You know, and so we were really close. But anyway, so I helped him coach his daughter's team, Joni, and they had a boy named Chris Braswell, who was one of Kevin Durant's friends, childhood friends. Chris Braswell did a move in that game, in the first game we played, and he grabbed the rebound, went behind his back, took it all the way down court, and rim rattled the rim, and it was like, this is elementary school. Wow. And I'm looking at, and the referee turned around and looked at me. And I was like, I looked at Larry like, wow. So anyway, they were trying to start the league. It never took off. I think we only played 3 games. But from there, I think Larry saw a fire in me to coaching again, and we got together, and he had some relatives that knew Kevin Durant, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, we worked out with his godfather a couple of times. Talked to his godfather. I took my Boys and Girls Club team there. They won a 3-on-3 contest at his event. He has an annual event. And from there, it just took off. The parents wanted us to coach. We started a little small program. And from that little, I think it was a 14U team, it turned out to be an AAU program called Mid-Atlantic Select. So that was one of the first things, that kind of projects where before then though, matter of fact, I got to jump back. I'm trying to get it this complete circle. But we also hosted through Kevin's godfather, Terrence Brown, that we also helped kids to go get college exposure. So we started with this franchise called Hoop Mountain, and we helped. We did Mid-Atlantic combines for kids to get college coaches to come watch them play for Division II, Division III junior colleges. So we ran a clinic in Baltimore. I think we ran a couple in Virginia, and from those kids, that's where we actually was able to help inform the bigger program of Mid-Atlantic Select when it really took off. And it got beyond my control. I couldn't even I never envisioned that it would blow up to the point where they are now, and that one of their former players, they had a couple players that have had, NBA tryouts, G League tryouts, but one of the players from that Mid-Atlantic Select program played for Holy Cross, Malcolm Miller. I think he played a little bit time with the Celtics, but he actually got a ring with the Raptors. Ooh. And it was, like I say, it was just the fruits of what we started. We never thought that it would just go that far. But can I write? Before I can rattle on. Let me read this poem because it's dedicated.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Man. And it's just called "Started from the Driveway." Now we're here. Been all over the planet. Now it's 60 plus years. We used to shoot hoops and play every day in the driveway until the lights came on every night. If playing basketball was wrong, we didn't want to be right. Through Cub Scouts and Boy Scout, we would always compete. Winter snow didn't stop us. Winter snow did not stop us, nor the summer heat. We would go to New York Nets games in the ABA and watch Dr. J up close and personal play. Through it all, the years we maintained constant contact through basketball. And one day in the fall of 2006, Larry gave me a convincing call. We coached Joni at Morningside Elementary School. From that success, we thought basketball culture would be cool, combining ideas and transporting our talent from Hempstead, Long Island Sound to the DMV, where we planted seeds in fertile ground. We had no idea of what to expect when we co-founded an AAU program called Mid-Atlantic Select. The concept of empowerment became an untapped and overflowing mind, helping undiscovered student athlete diamonds in the rough to shine. You are the mastermind who nurtures the roots of this tree that has sprung forth a pipeline of players in the NCAA junior colleges, Division 1, 2, and 3. A dozen or more are playing professionally overseas. A multitude have competed, and earning graduate study degrees. Who would imagine one of our alumni winning the NBA championship ring? For the love of the game, just what a beautiful thing.
That's fantastic, man. Brought back memories for me when I was growing up. When basketball was life. Like you said, when it was winter, spring, summer, fall, we went out there and did what we had to do because that's what we love to do.
What we love to do. Yeah.
So let the viewers know a little bit about your book.
Okay, can I?
You can do whatever you want, boss. You the man.
Like I say, I got a list of. I'm gonna just rattle through a list of players. Like I say, it's from the '60s and '80s, but just to give you an idea, here I talk about Julius Erving, as I mentioned earlier, Joe Blocker, Al Williams, who played against Julius Erving. At the same time, he played for Hempstead. That was our rival, Roosevelt. He played for Niagara behind Calvin Murphy. Right. We have so many players: Mark Hicks, Jackie Etson, Andrew Munch Monroe, Lorenzo Tarvin, who played at Fordham at the same time that Al went. They were teammates. Lorenzo Tarvin played at Fordham University. His nickname was T-Bone. And I tried to model a lot of my game from him. He had a turnaround jumper. He had a wicked turnaround jumper that it was money, But there was just so many. Denny Ray Wilson, and I wrote a tribute about Denny Ray. He was a legend in his own time, and I actually had a poster and T-shirts. I think I can get a picture.
Oh wow!
But he was a legend in his own time. It's just so many people. Ricky Furline is living with. He's living in Atlanta, Georgia, and Johnny Barrows, who was all CIAA. Ricky and Furline attended Fayetteville State University, and they were big brothers to me and helped me a lot on my game. It's just so many people. Then I had tributes in there to my classmates. In 1973, they were the Nassau County Championship team, and so I did a lot of work on giving those guys their props. And there's quite a few of them left. I'm in touch with John Pitts, who was the center, and they were. I think that I don't have the records in front of me. They were a pretty competitive team. Also, I don't know the ranking in the nation, but they played against the Mather, against Adrian Dantley.
Oh, okay.
They were tough team. Alfred Barnes and Alfred and Pitts went along to play at Centenary College with Robert Parrish.
Oh, okay.
That was a front line. That's 6'6" and 6'5". 6'6", 6'5". That was our front line. And then Wilfred Ferguson was the other forward. He played at Cottrell College, and I forgot where afterwards, but they had a formidable front line. And then backcourt of Michael Abadondolo and Gene Henderson, who he played at Buffalo, I believe it was Buffalo State. But they were tough. Gene had transferred from Long Island Lutheran High School. But and I had known these guys since probably the fourth grade, playing in Little League baseball, and we all played together. I got quite a few pages of the Hempstead girls basketball program when they started winning with Ollie Mills, who coached and won. Ollie Mills coached and won a championship with the boys and the girls, winning championships on that for Nassau County. And the girls team, most notable star was Lisa Smith, who went on to play at St. John's University and Mississippi State. It's just so many people. And I think for the most part, that's the earliest part. Then I could go into some players that I didn't really know, but I had people shared information with me on that are notable players. Kyle Ivy Jones, who you interviewed before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who played at Rhode Island.
Yes.
Warren Stitz, who played at Syracuse. Terrell Holloway, who played at Xavier. Rob Moore, who played for the Jets and also played at Syracuse. Football and basketball. He was tough in basketball. I got a list of so many names. Rob James, who played Long Island Lutheran. Lamont Huff, Travis Stanley. Going back to the women, Lisa Smith, Marie Sullivan. I got to give her props. Sharon Hampton, Benjamin, and Cheryl Lofton. You know, and they said Cheryl was shooting threes before they had the line. Deborah Curtis, Wanda Payton, Marie's father, Coach Walter Sullivan. He was assistant coach with Ollie Mills at that time. Another coach during the Hempstead dominant run when they were the powerhouses, Coach Ted Adams. And I don't have the record in front of me. I had to thumb them out, but they won in like a 10-year run. They were the team to beat. And went to the States. They won the States 2 years in the 90s. So it's a lot of, like I said, it's just loaded with so much information. I talk about Don Ryan and the impact of the Salvation Army program. And like I said, his team has traveled around the world. They've been to Helsinki, Finland. He took his team everywhere you could think of every year. And Julius Urban was usually the sponsor who would sponsor his team. So I think the team with if I remember correctly, Lisa Smith was telling me he took their team to play in New Orleans, and they went to see the Knicks play when Pistol Pete scored 68 against the Knicks. Yeah, it's Don. It's still in existence now. It's no longer the Salvation Army. It's called the Hempstead Dons, but it's been in existence, and it's been a pipeline uh, for so many years and impacted so many players. Also, Drew Nichols, who played at the University of Maryland. Um, Andrew Chanel, I'm not sure if he still is, but at one time he was the CEO of American Express.
Ooh.
Yeah, Don had players from just so many walks of life, and you never know. It's just so many. I can't even count. Like I say, this list here is incomplete. The amount of players that came out of the Hempstead pipeline. Got to give a shout out to Darryl Burgess and his brother Dennis Burgess, and Darryl's father Dennis played against Julius, but the Burgess brothers they played on prominent teams in the Hempstead in the 80s and 90s. And Dennis Burgess has his program now in the I Am We basketball program in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's doing great things with his program. It's kind of like a grassroots program, and it's year round. And he does similar to what I did, take kids travel, and he similar to what Don did, take kids and travel. But his is a very holistic approach. I've seen them. They give them kids haircuts. They go on clothing drives, shoot drives. They give them the backpacks. There's a lot of donations pour in. And so it's just a good thing, like you said, a good thing to see basketball. Like I say, basketball is life, and basketball gives life, But another thing I had a program that happened out of accident almost was when I first came to DC, and I was assigned to the Pentagon, working for Colin Powell. And I wasn't completely moved in, so I was living in a hotel till I just got situated. And so one night, this is in December, they had a snow blizzard warning, and I was like moving from night to night, getting in different hotels every night. And this particular night, because of the blizzard, everything was shut down. And I went over to Andrews Air Force Base, and I couldn't even get in there because the pilots had the first priority, so they got all the rooms for those guys. And I'm sitting in my car. There's nowhere else to just sit out there in the car, run my heat for a little while, and then maybe somebody wouldn't show up or a reservation would happen. And it just so happens that I ran into another guy in the same situation, another soldier, and is outside the base as a Holiday Inn. We both were kind of short on money, so we put our money together and, got a room. But it made me think about the other people who, I know people who live in cars. I've heard of that before, so I'm imagining, where do they go? What do they do? So it made me start thinking about homelessness. And later on, I was working at the Pentagon. I would go play ball at Fort Belvoir's gym in Virginia. And while I was driving by, I saw they had a homeless shelter next door. And I started volunteering at the homeless shelter. And a couple of young guys, I think one night we were watching the game, talking about the game, and they asked me, did I play? And I'm like, yeah, man, hey, you play? I'm like, yeah, let's get together. And so I made arrangement again, using my connections in the Army to get them to go on the base, get authorized to go on the base to play. So we started playing 3-on-3. And I mean, the dudes, it's competition. They can play. And we said, well, man, let's keep doing this. And I said, well, I got to get approval. I don't know how long it's going to last, but they let us play about a month or so. And from that team, I got a couple of the Army guys to play with me, and we put together a program. It didn't last long, but we wound up playing against a radio station, a fundraiser for the homeless shelter. We played against BET Television, and they beat us by 30 points. And then we got to play against radio station WKYS. And so that was pretty cool, and it gave them, a chance to meet and help, and they kind of poured in this donation and stuff like that towards the shelter. And like I said, that's kind of just things that happened along the way that I never, I didn't know. I guess a lot of it comes from my parents, the way my mom raised me, with her soup kitchen and stuff, is just the giving part. But it's just so many things
Right.
that just happen through life, and using ball, as a vehicle, and and like you said, the kids that I sponsored over the years, I got a court in my backyard, so I would say probably it's been about close to 10 years that in the weather permits, I had a shooting machine, so I had kids come out and shoot. You know,
Uh,
uh, I had probably the best player that came. I had a girl to play for Temple University. Um, One guy played for Penn State. They used to come work out. Couple of kids from all over. I can't. My memory's not as good as far as names, but I had a bunch of kids over the years that just come and work out, and we get it in. And I thought it was my way to give back and keep kids off the street. When I wasn't coaching, because after a while AAU burnt me. I probably coached 15 years at AAU, but I don't know, 4 or 5 years of high school, maybe a little longer in high school. But how I got started in high school ball, and this was knowing I never wanted to coach high school. I thought AAU was just my lane. But I was playing in Marine base at Henderson Hall at lunchtime. We used to play lunch games. And left-handed guy, white guy, Dennis Murphy, left-handed. We both left-handed. We shooting jumpers and trying, just you in there alone. Let's go see who gonna miss first. So I'm shooting.
right.
He's shooting. I'm like, man, this guy. He said, man, let's go pick up a game, man. So we started running, and we won about 3 or 4 games. And he asked me, what do you do? And I said, I'm in the Army. But he said, you want to play for the Marines? I'm like, sure, why not? And then from there, this was, I think, 2000, 2001, 2002. We won 2 out of 3 years that base championship team and championship tournament for the over 40s. And from there, he asked me, well, what else do you do? You seem like you play ball a lot. And I told him I coach AAU. And he was assistant coach at St. John's in D.C., St. John's College High School in D.C. And he asked me to come on and coach the freshman team. I'm like, yeah, I guess, it was different for me because I wasn't used to systematically, the correct things and all. The street, AAU. I knew drills and I go get my drills, and do my stuff. But it was so structured, But Dennis is a Marine, so he was kind of just, straight Marine. This is what we're gonna do. This is how and it helped my game, my coaching ability too, because it just made more sense. And it was a developmental program. And so from that freshman team, which was pretty amazing, we had 4 players that go on to play JV and then go to play D1, get D1 scholarship. And one of them did go, one of them played in the G League for the Utah Jazz, and I think Orlando Magic. I think he's overseas though. His name is James Palmer, but he played for Miami in college. He played for Miami and Nebraska. 6'5" shooting guard. So it was just like I said, it's just so many things that coincidences through basketball, and from there, Dennis introduced me to. Well, I knew Joe Wooten, from Morgan Wooten. He was coaching at Bishop O'Connell. So after my first year, my wife and I, they asked us to sponsor a player from Puerto Rico. His name is Abdil Badillo, who was sponsored by. Here goes my memory. JJ Herrera, I think his name is from the Dallas Maverick. But anyway, so he was on the Puerto Rican national team, Butch Lee, those guys knew him. So he played, and he's 6'5", hold his own. He was a power forward. They lost. I think they lost in the championship at WCAC that year, senior year. And then Joe asked us, my wife and I, again, and she was gracious and very supportive enough to bring another kid. Then this was Umar Barry, I think I mentioned him before. And Umar was from Guinea. And so Umar came in his junior year and lived with us. He stayed junior and senior year and then on to college. But Umar played with Mello Trimble in high school. Mello went on to play at Maryland. And so Umar went from there. He got a scholarship to go play at DePaul. But
okay.
so he went to DePaul with Oliver Purnell, but Oliver Purnell got fired. And so then that's how he got when he got fired, Dave Lato flew. Remember your man Dave came. He came.
I got my DePaul on right now.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah, he came. He came to visit us and recruited. He personally came to the house after Purnell got fired. So he came and visited, and so Umar played, but he just it was a developmental thing. I think in my opinion, he probably would have been better to redshirt him. But anyway, he played a few games, and then from there he went to junior college in Iowa Western, and then got a scholarship to play at San Jose State, where he graduated from in I think it was 2018, 2019. And then the last kid that this was just it wasn't even, it was an accident. I mean, I did it out of hadn't planned on sponsoring or hosting any other kids, but this was a rescue situation to me. The story in itself is a side story, because this kid reached out after Isa Isaku from Ghana. He reached out through Facebook and just kept messaging me every day. Can you send me basketball lessons? Can you show me how to shoot? I want to learn how to dribble. Can you send me YouTube videos? How can I get to the States? So it started when he was 14 years old.
Wow.
Consistently every day. And then one day he got the nerve to call with the messenger, call me. And he couldn't speak much English, but he said, hello. And he started calling me my dad. And so we kind of got a bond. I said, okay, I can help you. And he just persistently asked every day, and he would show me his workouts. And it's kind of like a lot of those YouTube videos you see that guys use whatever they have.
Yeah.
He would pick up concrete blocks, run with the truck tires, do push-up. He did everything that those guys do. I got ton of videos of him working out. And so eventually he told me where he lived in Ghana. It was Kumasi, Ghana, the village. And so I Googled it and actually come to found him a team to play for the Kumasi Kings. And he made the team. And from that team, they had their, I don't know if it was the NBA's program or not, but he played in a program there and made the national team, the 16U national team when he was 15. And so from there, and I was telling him, because I told him I couldn't sponsor him. I wasn't even trying to. I was just trying to help him get. I said, maybe somebody will see you. I'll help you get a YouTube, make some videos and reach out to people that I knew. But the thing was, the difference was he's only, at that time, he was maybe 6'4", 6'3", and maybe weighed 140 pounds. So, a lot of people going to come and try to recruit. It's not like he's 6'9", 7 feet.
Right.
And he was limited in his ability. He was very raw, but he worked. His work ethic was just, I had to tell him, some days I had to tell him to stop, because he would work and then you see the pictures of what he would show you that, he had to eat. He would show you a picture with, it looked like it might have been farina or oatmeal or something with a little bit of gravy and no meat. That was it. And, he's going out working in the sun, and, when a lot of times he show up with his shirt off, you can see his navel, you can see his rib cage, and he still just works so hard, man. And I mean, bring tears in my eye. And and they showed me his shoes. So one time I finally said, I'm going to try, and I sent it through FedEx or whatever it was. I sent him a pair of Steph Curry shoes. And, and then it kind of, from there it just grew. And I told him I could try, but I just didn't know, what would happen. So a couple of people reached out to him, somebody in Florida, and the place where he eventually wound up going was in Minnesota. And so he went out there, and for the first part, it was pretty good. But he had I think it was just that between the language barrier, the culture shock,
Oh,
you know, and then misunderstanding, and I don't want to go into all the details, but it got abusive. And so finally one day he called me, and I finally said I got to intervene because I didn't mean for him. No kid should have to come to the States to endure, go through that,
right.
You're coming, he's coming to get the education now. All that other stuff is just not necessary. So I flew out there, and I had to get police and then intervention and everything, and social services. And his parents back in Ghana, they actually wrote a letter to give me custody, and my wife agreed we should do it. And so it took me a little while, but we had to get him, and it was at the end of the school year. We had to try to get him into. You can't just put him in public school. You have to put him in, with the schools under the immigration system. It's called CVIS, and that's how most of the foreign kids come. They have to play it with their visas. And so it took me a while to try to get him in, and I finally got him in at National Christian Academy. That's where Kevin also attended one year. But I got him in the National Christian through a good AAU coach that I knew, and we helped him. But then we had to do GoFundMe, set up a GoFundMe page to help him get his scholarship to pay for his tuition. And we didn't mind. We treated him like a son, like the rest of the guys. He lived here, so room board, that's no problem. But his tuition, that had to be paid. And so, I'm retired. I came out of retirement to do it, and we just, like I said, we just came to rescue a kid.
Right.
And then after that a year, he got us another sponsor in Florida. His name's Kelly Orca. That they took him in, and he attended school for his junior and senior year in Florida. And he just graduated this year, and now he's in he didn't get his basketball scholarship, but he ran track his senior year, and so he turned a lemon and lemonade. He's got a track scholarship to Lake Sumter State College in Florida. So he's going to run track this year, and then hopefully next year, he still plays ball, so he's just hoping that he can either. Wow. They don't have a team. He said there's possibility that they do start a team, but in the meantime, in the interim, he's running track and doing pretty good.
That's a great story, man. That's a great story. Yeah, unbelievable.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, it's just, I don't know, I guess I'm a magnet for for helping kids play ball. I'm also coaching. This be my third year coaching at Holy Trinity School in Glendale, Maryland. So I coached the B team in seventh and 8th grade team there. And that's about it.
Wow. We're running out of time, Ed. Unfortunately, you're going to have to come back on again soon. But before we go, Ed, can you let the viewers know, give me your most cherished or most memorable moments of growing up in Hempstead, Long Island?
I would just say the most memorable moments, I would probably say, and the most formative moments for me would be Kennedy Park, man, because it was a safe haven. And like I said, you had to. It was almost like pledging manhood fraternity, so to speak, because you went there every day. On Saturday, especially on Saturdays, you had to be there at 9 o'clock, or you're gonna wait. I mean, that's universal. I think it's
yes.
You got to be there when the doors open. You got your team together, and then the next guy got next, and we be arguing over who got next. But that was just universal. We every morning, and with my brother and I, we had to get our chores done before we could go. So we had to get up early on Saturday. But it was just so many things, man, that I think about and reflect on, and there's so many little nuances that things that we used to go through. You couldn't go if you came in there and you didn't wear the right shoe. Like if you came in there and you didn't have Converse All Stars on, people are looking at you like, oh, you know, it's a lot of little things we grow up with, that people just don't know, and how we kept our shoes. We wash them things up, keep them, especially you had a white pair, you keep your shoes clean.
Oh, you know it. Oh, absolutely.
And shoveling the snow off the court, walking through, because from Kennedy, my house at Kennedy Park was about a 1.5 mile walk, but we would walk, because in the wintertime, if it got too cold, we wanted to be in that gym and play. And like I said, you never know who would walk in the gym. I mean, I've seen people walk in that gym from Robert. I didn't see him, but he's been in there. Robert Parrish, Pablo Robinson from the Globetrotters. Tiki Burden used to play from the Knicks. Used to come there, him and his brother. It was just so many players that other players from all over Long Island came. They called it the Mecca. And as far as an indoor gym, that's probably one of the toughest places to play. And as far as outdoor, I would say Centennial Park in Roosevelt, Long Island, where Julius Erving grew up, because they had just a big tournament out there. It's one of the biggest, most popular tournaments, and teams from the city would come out there to play too. And those experiences, just to be there, like I say, a lot of times I was just on the side, but my sister used to tease me all the time. She said, "You just watch everything, you look at everything, stop staring so much. Why you?" But I was just trying to soak and I think that's where it gave me the gift to do a book, was just I remembered it all and be able to capture it and put it in paper with the help of computers. And I got to give a shout out to Ollie Mills, Coach Ollie Mills, because my mother had the foresight in the 8th grade to send me in the summertime, instead of just playing ball all the time. She sent me to typing school, and Ollie Mills was the typing teacher. So I learned how to type at an early age, and I never knew it, on those old manual typewriters, but I never knew the value of learning how to use those keys. And I remember back then, he told me something. It was some kind of saying he told me about the quote about it and how it's going to pay. It's going to pay for you later on. Because I just hated it. I hated to go to class. It was hot. Summertime, they had a fan on, no air conditioning. You got to stay in there tight. But today, to this day, and then, as far as I can relating to the military, it helped me, because while I was in the military, I came in for military intelligence, but I failed in the school there. And so another I guess ironic thing happened. I had a teammate while I was at the military intelligence school. I made the team there. That was another story. I walked in the gym and played one day, and there's an Air Force Base team, and they said, "You want to play?" Sure. We got to traveled all over Texas, San Angelo, Texas. But at the end, my school, it was like 6 or 8 week school period. I failed the school. And they said, if you don't, well, you got to take a test. You're either going to infantry or cook school. And they said, if you take this typing test, and my friend, teammate, Ray Grace, said, man, you better go take that test and pass it. If you take it, you'll be in administration. And that's how it got me into all these different administration positions. It's group failing again. Well, I failed one time, but another door opened. And like I say, from there, every place I went, I was basically working in administration or security and army. And
right to the Pentagon.
Right to the Pentagon. And also from the Pentagon, I served 5 years at the White House. I played ball for undefeated White House team in 90. I played from 93 to 98. And we got to see the Chicago Bulls when they came and got their rings.
Oh, okay.
I met Manute Bol when he came. He came. I had to escort him when they came. He brought his entourage to the White House for his the Sudan humanitarian crisis, and I was there with them. I think I told you before. I met Mike Jarvis at the White House.
Oh, Mike Jarvis, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, I met him there. Him and Juwan Howard the same day. It cracked me up when I met Mike because I was younger than. He came up and was shaking my hand, sizing me up like he trying to recruit me. He's a good guy though, man. Yep, down to
Yes,
earth.
he is. Absolutely.
Yeah, and all those.
You know, Ed, unfortunately, we have to go.
Okay.
You're welcome to come back anytime. If people want to get a chance to, view your book, how can they go about doing it?
That's a good question, and I just got my email set up so specifically for the book because I'm going to do another release. In my email, I'll give it to you. It's Atlas Hoops 220 at Gmail. Just
All right.
Atlas Hoops 220 at gmail.com.
I'm sure a lot of people probably gonna want to check it out. I mean, to me, I think I read your first one you sent me, and it was I'm a hoop fan, so you know me, I got into it. So hopefully, the viewers who are tuned in right now go check it out because it's gonna be full of information, and I know how you are, so the book's probably gonna be a fantastic sell. So I wish you the best of luck with your book and all that you've done. It's kind of like giving you your flowers for what you've done over the years and hanging out with me. I mean, you and I, interviewing Sam Jones is, again, that brought me to tears, and I'll never forget that as well. So I want to thank you for coming on my show, my brother. Whenever you feel like you want to come on and talk about your new book that you're doing or anything that you're doing, feel free, hit me up. You already know you got an open spot anytime that you want, my friend. So
My
thank
man,
you very much.
my man, I appreciate you, bro.
All right,
Good
thank you
job,
so much, man.
my
Folks,
man.
you got it, my man. Thank you so very much, folks. That's my man Ed Atlas. We go back a little bit of ways. It's been an honor and a privilege to have him on my show and consider him a good friend as well. He's one of the OGs, and hopefully that we can get the other OG on sooner or later. But anyway, I want to thank my man Ed Atlas for coming on Sports Wave with the Conn Man on the Sports Wave Network, Sports Corner with the Conn Man. And stay tuned because on Friday evenings, beginning on the 31st of this month, we're going to have the courtside view where we're going to talk all NBA, me and about 5 other guests, and it's going to be the bomb. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to my show, Sports Corner with the Conn Man on the Sports Wave Network. I want to thank my guest, Ed Atlas. You all have a great night. Take care, and God bless.